So I came across this earlier with the title Talk TV host clashes with non-binary guest after refusing to pander to the pronouns agenda. Now this was Memology 101's take on it. I had seen a couple of other, vids on the specific subject of the following, and under fair use. Let me play you this.
Next guest, who is Shivani Dave. She is a journalist and a presenter at Virgin Radio, just down the corridor. Good afternoon to you, Shivani.
Good afternoon, Julia. You know my pronouns are they, them. How are you doing?
Yeah. Thank you for telling me your pronouns. I use correct grammar, so the only thing I would need to refer you to is to your face would be you, but I'm not being rude. You can choose your pronouns. You can choose what you want to call yourself, but you don't get to require.
Now, apparently, the individual had studied physics, but then went on to, you could argue, a career change as a journalist and various other things. So, but straight off the bat, just say and it's the face as well, because remember, it's about narcissism with many of them anyway. And it's the projection of power over other individuals based on your say-so and whatever you decide to call yourself that day. Seriously, because remember, you can hear the they, them, zer, and honestly, there's a whole bloody, well, there's a number. It's ridiculous, but then it's to break down society in general for, just basic communication and to project fear on others if they get it wrong, because this is backed up by, well, the occult networks, the underling occultists who own businesses, corporations, or are in management of various businesses, corporations, etc., etc. Then add to that education and various other professions or apparent professions. And if you don't go with our what we've decided is the latest thing now, well, I'm sorry, you're just a hateful individual, quite spiteful. Why would you not entertain whatever I feel I should be called that day? Seriously, this is about the breakdown of sanity to a collective insanity, and then it's order out of chaos. This is about societal and social breakdown. And the arrogance in so many of individuals, like the individual you see before you, who knows, I mean, let's face it, I do find, let's be honest, with a lot of people who class themselves as non-binary, trans this, blah, blah, blah. Not to put too fine a point in it, they're not exactly blessed when it comes to looks, many of them. Yeah, many of them, you could argue, have got quite challenging faces. And of course, and I think there's a lot of this power over others. When you think about many, for example, males who have decided that they are females, they dress, they do whatever else, they know that they now have the power to go into women's changing rooms. I hate the term spaces. It just used to be, I mean, if you look at blooming swimming pools, 100+ years old, it didn't matter which side of the swimming pool you were on. They were all cubicles. That was what they were. And you went in as an individual, you closed your cubicle door, and you got changed. Now, there was showers for the women and showers for the men. That's basically what you saw. And things worked. Yeah? What this is doing now is putting the fear of God into anybody who doesn't go along with it. Have a doubt, and I will get back to this vid. Another vid done by Memology 101 and under fair use.
I want to note that parts of the conversation have been, this is not about adults. We want to support adults to live their best life, live who they are. And I want to remind us...
This term, for many who go along with this term, living their best lives, Have you noticed it's an awful lot of them, for example, I'm not saying they're trans, I'm just talking about, for example, celebrities, influencers. And one of the major factors in a lot of them is this pursuit of wealth. It's never enough. Doesn't matter how many X amount of £1,000 handbags, boats, cars, planes, whatever it is, and constant holidays. Let's not forget that. And repetition, and constant pictures on whatever platform, Twitter, and here's me in Bali, here's me in this, but living my best life. You hear that term quite a lot, yeah? Let's carry on.
That harmful disregard of someone's preferred chosen pronouns directly conflicts with the message that we want to affirm people and let adults and encourage adults to live their best lives. Further, I want to say that gender-affirming care for all ages is a range of treatment. It's a range of choices they make, from clothes, from name to hair, and yes, pronouns. And when we misuse pronouns, and when we intentionally or deliberately misuse them or choose not to be careful, we're sending...
Think about it. People used to just get on with their lives. Good afternoon, madam. Good morning, sir. Remember, it was up till only a few years ago in British Rail, or variants on the theme. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The following times will be for the train going to X, Y, and Z. And then a few years ago, remember, they banned it. No longer could any announcer at a train station, and probably there'll be now bus stations and wherever, and planes and, airports, and, it's the destruction of language, and it's the destruction of what makes us great as a species, the recognition of the female and the male, the boy, the girl, etc., yeah? The things that have made us so successful as a species for thousands of years is being actively attacked and destroyed. Think about this. And I'll get back to how many of the transgender lobby do you find where they're not exactly gifted physically when it comes to looks. It's definitely a factor, and you could argue, and I would say successfully, that many of them who, for example, did not get the right response from the opposite sex are now in a position of power where they go out their way to do things like, go into women's changing rooms, get absolutely naked, but remember, maybe 6-year-old girls in with their mum, etc., all the rest of it, and they can wander about naked with their tackle out and all the rest of it, and you've got to accept it, and not only accept it, but as this woman's about to say, if you're not up for every aspect of this, then it's an actual act of violence. Now think about the Scottish hate crime laws. Seriously, they were never going after people like J.K. Rowling. No, seriously. And I'll repeat, you notice, unless I've missed something, J.K. Rowling is only supporting it women who get involved in, saying no to this. Unless I've missed something. Whereas it should be everybody. I'd have had a lot more respect for her if she'd done that. After all, it's a stress on both sexes, is it not? Humouring this by people who many have looked at and said, hey, and their own life experiences and their own experiences with people who you know that things are not right. And if there's an awful lot of them which have, you could argue, personality disorders, and they've now got the power to be able to enact all their fantasies and be in their position. They're thriving on this, at the expense of humanity. An act of violence. Are you kidding me?
Messages to our kids also, that we don't care how they're seeing the world, and we are willing to do them harm.
And remember, primary school children are being exposed to this ideology and being told, listen, don't you want to be with the cool kids? And we'll not tell your parents. When what they should have been taught about is, spelling, being able to read books, embracing art, whatever, connecting with your fellow students, getting a bit of exercise, getting a bit of camaraderie, all the rest of it, give them all the life skills to give them confidence to succeed in life, which then continues through secondary school, etc., etc. But remember, let's not forget, life experience itself. So they're taking this out, although they're exposing children to this, they're taking this everywhere. So every job that you go to, you'll have the activists who are doing the hiring and the firing. And by the way, my pronoun is X, Y, and Z, and they're looking for your response. Now, you do want that job, don't you? You want to be able to have that roof over your head, be able to eat food, all the rest of it, sleep without too many fears and concerns in your life. You better go with the program, because...
And the very act of doing that is an act of disrespect and violence against people, regardless of who they are. I personally think that when we misgender people, and yes, I do it sometimes.
This is like neuro-linguistic programs, and she's given a trade-off here. Hey, look, I've done it myself, but we better go with the flow here, because literally, she's just said it's an act of violence. Let me tell you what an act of violence is: an actual act of violence. Punching, stabbing, killing, raping, maiming. They're actual acts of violence. Mind you, you find more and more these days the people entrusted to minimize our exposure to that kind of thing are more focused now, apparently, by the day, on misgendering people. Are you kidding me?
Regardless of who they are, I personally think that when we misgender people, and yes, I do it sometimes, it's a habit. I apologize, and I work to do better. And I would call on all of my colleagues to apologize when they misgender and resolve to do better.
So straight away, let's be honest, they're saying that everybody who's wearing a dress and pretending to be the opposite sex is some kind of deity on the hill in comparison to you. Think about that. Seriously. And you're telling me that's not going to be up for abuse? Are you kidding me? Narcissists and just generally many other people on that socio-psychopathic spectrum, yeah.
So, that we don't care how they're seeing the world, and we are willing to do them harm, and the very act of doing that is an act of disrespect and violence against people, regardless of who they are.
Meanwhile, back at Talk TV, under fair use, let's watch that again. She's very polite. The interviewer.
She is a journalist and a presenter at Virgin Radio, just down the corridor. Good afternoon to you, Shivani.
You can't argue with it. Look, I'm not a huge fan of the individual, but she was perfectly polite. Absolutely gave her no quarter. She was absolutely friendly straight out the bat, and perfectly polite.
Good afternoon, Julia. You know my pronouns are they, them. How are you doing?
Yeah. Thank you.
Honestly, seriously, think about what that congresswoman had said. Yeah, this will be hitting to the UK. Seriously. The power these individuals have over others. And it's all these interconnected cults in a belief system. Everything from do what thou will to OTO, all the rest of it. Did nobody read Huxley's Brave New World? Because remember, the plan is to destroy humanity, even the act of procreation. And then it'll all be clones, pods, whatever else, and various IQs based on chemistry and chemicals and seriously. Yeah?
For telling me your pronouns, I use correct grammar, so the only thing I would need to refer you to is to your face would be you, but I'm not being rude. You can choose your pronouns, you can choose what you want to call yourself, but you don't get to require me to use incorrect grammar and factually incorrect things. You're not a plural,
Seriously, look at the body language, the arrogance, unbelievable arrogance. How many handlers behind her? God only knows.
You're one person, and you're a female person, so I will use she and her. Thank you very much.
Do what you like, I guess.
No, you aren't. You didn't need to tell me then, did you?
Maybe I'm just making sure people know in case they're watching and they want to refer to me respectfully.
Seriously, the default for many of them is a position of power that they absolutely don't deserve, you know? Because, you know, you either go with my delusion, which is well financed and supported, or, you know, well, you're a non-person. You're old hat. Seriously. We have a new way of doing things. We have a new existence. This has a lot to do with the New Age movement and so much more. And occultism beyond belief.
Is it disrespectful for me to use correct factual grammar?
It's not incorrect or unfactual grammar to use singular they them pronouns for an individual. But we're here to talk about the cast review.
Yeah, but you
even the wee bobs and the wobbles at the head. You know, the arrogance of this individual. What a narcissist. What a sociopath.
But you chose to bring it up.
You chose to use the incorrect pronouns.
The incorrect pronouns. Think about that. Seriously. Look, very occasionally have I came across somebody who gives it, you know, I've just gone, sorry, what's your name? And, you know, they can call it, say, Daphne or whatever. Right, Daphne. Can I have my coffee? That's really, you know. Or I remember with great fondness many Glaswegians that had been a hell of a lot less subtle than that. Look, though, I couldn't give a flying fuck what you're called. I'm just here for a coffee. Something along those lines. But no, I'm polite enough to say, sorry, look, what's your name? Seriously. Because, you know, I have no interest in your background or, you know, really seriously, you know. This is bullying on steroids to get people, no matter who they are, to go with the flow, based around so many things. Social ostracization, your very job, your very livelihood, the potential of you getting a job. They'll be under the Scottish hate crime. Remember, what was it? Non-hate crime incident that'll go on records you may not even be aware of. And you've gone for X amount of job interviews and they've all just fallen through for some. You know, maybe they looked quite promising, quite hopeful, blah, blah, blah. And then all of us, actually, no.
I chose to use the correct pronouns for a single woman who is appearing on my show.
I'm not a single woman, though. I'm a very special non-binary trans person, as you just pointed out.
Yeah, seriously. Look, 18 minutes in. Your thoughts. Anyway, thumbs up, share, if you care, subscribe, and if you like what I do, buy me a beer or two. And I'll speak to you soon.